Hi everyone, today we will be sewing bikini bottom pattern Nude. This is actually, I did a trial and I loved it so much. I did this one and I loved it so much. This is a different fabric. It has less stretch and it's more thick. So and I've done this once before, so I decided to do this without any lining. And as you can see, I just placed the elastic, folded, and did a top stitch with a zigzag. And the bottoms are amazing, they fit amazing. I have a center back seam here. It's tiny back, and I love them so much that I decided to do them as a pattern for all of you that also loved this one. So today we will be sewing this bikini bottom, but instead of doing it without lining, I'm gonna use a nude lining. Okay, so let's start by cutting our fabrics. Your pattern is available at bikinidesignclub.com, and it will have some notes on the pattern and of course the grain line, but mine, it's more or less empty because it's my test pattern. But you also can see the details on your pattern because the front is cut on the fold. So let's cut our fabrics. We are going to sew the center back seam on our outer fabric and also our lining piece. I forgot to tell you to cut, but it will be on the pattern. I cut it with 3 centimeters by 50 or 60 by 60, and then I cut them in half, and I have 4 straps for my bikini bottom. So apply the elastic, fold them in half, and just prepare your straps. And now the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to match my... So I pinned the wrong area, so I am taking everything, all the threads out because I pinned the wrong area. So this is something that can happen to you also, so I'm sharing. The real place where I want to be sewing is the center back seam, and the center back seam is here. This is my side, very thin, and then this is my center back seam. So I ended up sewing a place that I didn't want to sew. So I'm going to take the threads from here, I'm going to do the same here, and I'm going to remake the center back seam and reverse the straps. So my back is corrected with my center back seam done, and now I'm gonna place right sides facing together and align the crotch area, and this is the only area where I'm going to sew, and do the same on the lining. So I don't think you need me to get this on tape, so that's why I didn't tape me sewing this part. I think it's quite easy, and all of you may, at this point, I think all of you will already know how to do this. This is quite simple. I'm gonna cut my straps half, so now I have my 4 straps, and now place our entire bottom with our lining, right sides facing together, and we will pin all the leg holes and also the front and the back. We will sew with the overlock, applying elastic on the sides of your lining, so leg holes, front and back, and then we will be back. I will get this on camera because I want you to see how I do my V shape in front and back. So I'm going to show you the one that I did on the other day without lining, and this is the front. Okay, so it's like this. So I'm going to show you the front, and as you can see, I have here a zigzag stitch, right, my top stitch, and my finish is quite nice, it looks nice. And on the reverse you can see that I folded both of them, and this is very thin. I'm afraid that with the lining this will not be so thin. So I've never done this before, but what I'm gonna do is my lining on this area, I'm gonna cut it here and I'm going to secure it to the main fabric, but not on the edge, front or back. I think that way we will be able to create this thin effect much easier. So I'm gonna just cut it here, and we will sew. Cut it both fronts and back, only the lining. Actually, the method that I used for these ones, I sewed my elastic on this side, and then I folded, and then I did a top stitch because I had no lining. And we could do it like that, just like we do it on non-reversible. But this time I'm gonna try something different, because I placed this fabric, the lining and the fabric, like if this was a reversible piece. So I will apply the elastic, and I will then reverse this like if this was a reversible. Because if you want to sew it like this, exactly on the same methods, my lining should be on the insides of my fabric. We would apply the elastic on top of the lining, and then we just fold. But instead of doing that, I'm going to try this one like this. So I'm going to apply the elastic, and then we will reverse the piece and do a top stitch. I will apply the elastic on my main fabric side. So I'm reaching my center front. I'm going to go out of my overlock. I'm going to my straight stitch machine, and as always, I will do with the elastic stitch, I will do the edge of my V-shaped front, so that it stays sharp. So keep up with me to see how I do it. So here is my V-shape. I will do it twice to make sure it's secure, and then I will continue the rest of my front on my overlock. So we have just attached our lining to our main fabric, front with front. And now I'm just going to trim a little bit here, the V-shape for the front. And I will reverse this to the right side using one of the holes here, and we will see the result on the other side. So it's looking good. I hope this is the first time I do this method, so I hope it turns out okay. So now we will fill the elastic and align all the bottom so that our lining is not seen on the right side, and we will do a top stitch, a zigzag top stitch all around. The only detail that I wanted to share that I think it's important is, remember that we did this not until the end. The lining is not going until the end, so that we can fold this properly and make this very nice and pretty. So what I'm going to do is, on one of the sides as an example, and then I will not do all the others but on video, just one. So I'm going to trim the elastic that is coming outside of my thread, because I don't want bulkiness here, and the elastic gives me the bulkiness that I don't want. So I'm going to cut the elastic. I'm going to find one of the straps that I have. My seam from the strap is going to face my lining, right? So the inside of my bottom, and then we place the strap and we fold both our pieces inside like this. I'm gonna do some hand stitches to make sure that this stays exactly where I want. Actually, I'm gonna first fold inside, then place the strap, and then fold one and fold the other one. And I'm gonna do hand stitch to secure this in place. I'm gonna do this for all the 4 sides, and only when this is ready, I'm going to do the top stitch with the zigzag all around. So let's prepare our 4 straps. So my 4 sides are ready, straps, and I know that this is not easy, but I think to get the best result, if I do the pattern with my main piece a bit wider, it will not be so thin here, so it will not be so beautiful, I think. So now let's go to the sewing machine and sew with the overlock all around, always taking care of the elastic to be folded inside so you won't see it on the outside. Before I share the pictures of the final result for our bottom, I want to share with you the options that we have to sew this bottom. So as I told you, I made this one since I know that the fabric is thick and the elasticity is not like my normal swimwear. What I did was sewing this without any lining, and it's perfect. I like it like this, but I know that some of you will want to place lining, so today we were doing this one with the elastic, with the lining. But what we did was we placed we sewed this like this was a reversible, and when we reversed it to the right side, we then made a top stitch all around. This is the method that we used for this. As you can see here on the edges, it's not bad. I think it's good. My machine has some problems with the thickness, but I think it's quite good. But then, and you see here the lining that we cut here, okay? But then I wanted to share that if you want, you can see our tutorial on tie. And this is a lining also, and this is our main fabric, and it has a top stitch, as you can see. And in this case, we did the entire bottom, the entire swimsuit on our main fabric. We did the entire swimsuit on our lining, and after we did this, we placed one inside the other, and then on the side of the lining, we placed the elastic, we folded, and we top stitched. So this is 2 different ways of doing this, okay? I think this is probably easier than this one, but well, it's an option. You can choose whatever method you want. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm gonna share the results now and see you again in the near future.